whether HUMA was able to actually, as individuals, be able to come together as a team. And so far, yes, they have. They've been able to come together as a team.
They have been. Don't believe your eyes too much. Just EUCS is not playing AD carry in this game for HUMA. They are just in the wrong spot.
Yes.
So
don't be fooled.
Don't be fooled when they swap around. At least I'm assuming going into the game.
Maybe are they Giants? Yeah. Pepinero just swaps with the AD carry. It's like, all right, boys. I want to challenge Reckless to a duel. You
don't even know how much that messes up things, like stats in the background, where it's just like looking at AD carries and all of a sudden there's a Lulu that Adri played, and I'm like,
Spellsy just like Hulk smashes his dad.
Oh yeah, I've got that vision in my head now. Just getting so infuriated. That's not an AD carry.
That's not an AD carry at all. And so far, we've had one AD carry ban, or maybe two. Kindred has seen some play in the AD carry role, but pretty much the same as we've been seeing in previous games. Misfortune going to be taken away here on the side from HUMA, so taking away from Holy Wings, but they did this in the first game, so they wouldn't give it over to Creatin.
No Morgana for the flex, whether it's support or mid lane, so IHG clearly feeling like it was a problem, even though Godbro was behind in that matchup. Just in general, the Morgana was doing way more than the Ryze was.
Dr. Mundo was the final ban as well, saw that in the previous games. Corki's going to be the first pick coming in from Illuminar.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a flex. I want to see if it goes on to Nick or Creatin. I would be interested to see if it goes on to Nick, because that's a different playstyle from what they've been running in the first couple games. Instead of scaling, going for proactive plays and making something happen in the early and mid game.
But I think that's what they need.
Yeah.
To completely change everything up, I think, is the right game plan here for IHG. Nothing they've thrown in the first two games of having the same playstyle has worked. So let's go with a strong pick that we can flex as our first pick and allows us to do a lot as a team as the game opens up. Here is the Trundle that was banned in Game 1. We saw it Game 2 on IHG. It was IHG that previously banned it away. So let's see what Just EUCS has to offer.
On that champion, yeah. It could be in the top lane sometimes. Is a possibility, but we're not sure yet because it is a flex pick.
The more you say that, actually, it's a World Lib champion.
Yes.
It's very much so a World Lib champion. It's like, are you gonna play a tank? I'll crush you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a single dueling kind of champion like a Jax. That same sort of thing.
And also from what Kuban's been picking so far, he's picked up the Tam Kench, he's been picking up tanks and the Groves as well. Kuban, back in the day, big Irelia player, so that is not a carry, and Irelia would do alright, but I think Trundle still wins that matchup. Fiora is still open, wasn't picked up in any of the previous games, and surprisingly for me, because I still think Fiora is amazing right now, but just hasn't been picked up. Maybe the right scenario hasn't been picked up for these two teams. The type of composition they wanted to go for didn't really fit a Fiora into it. What's for certain is the Rek'Sai has been picked up with the Braum and Lysandra on the other side, waiting for the next pickup from HMA.
So we saw in Game 1 IHG with the Graves, and then Game 2 IHG with the Graves. Now it's gone over to Santorin. Could still be top. Santorin's more of a support jungler, and I don't think Graves fits that role. We saw yesterday Banditos trying to play the Graves out of the jungle and the lanes lost, and it didn't work because you need everything to be ahead. I don't have the concern of the lanes losing, I just have this conflicting play style here if that does in fact go to the jungle, which with a Trundle and a Lysandra and a Graves, those are all three that can fit in if a jungle gets locked in last, but I assume it's going to be Graves jungle here.
Yeah, that would make the most sense, but everything can still swap because of all the flexes. Kalista was the other pickup that we're going on to hit Holy Phoenix. Picked that in the first game, did pretty well with that pickup. Had that with the Morgana, and next two pickups from IHG. The Hover of the Fiora, if it is the top lane Trundle, would do better against it, but you can't say for certain it's going to be the top lane Trundle. And also the mid lane. We're talking about it potentially being a Corki, but again, that could flex into the AD carry, and with both of those locked in, we have the whole composition.
Yes, the composition is pretty much an obvious one now for IHG.
Yeah, Fiora in the top lane, AD carry will be Corki, LeBlanc in the mid lane, and everything else fits.
I don't mind the Fiora pick. I think it's still fairly strong. There's so many options for HUMA, though, to just go, okay, we'll put the Lysandra, take the skill matchup. We'll put the Trundle there. I would assume that is a skill matchup as well if you riposte the pillar. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder how that matchup goes. Haven't seen too much of it, and there's another flex pick comes out as a Poppy with the last lock-in. So that could be a jungle Poppy, could be a top Poppy, could be a support Poppy. Knowing Europe, it's been predominantly support. We've seen that in a couple of different regions. I think Mata played it in the LPL as support as well. Other regions, LCK, LPL, have tended to favor it in the top side of the map, whether it was top or whether it was jungle. Cass is hovering over it, or at least is sitting on the champion right now.
So have to assume it's support. That means the Trundle will be in the top lane as well. The Lissandra goes to the mid lane. The AD carry is on Kalista.
So
go to
much
Holy
flex.
Phoenix, and then Santra will take the Graves. Okay, that makes sense. There we go.
And again, there was Cass and Phoenix are on the wrong that's the observer in me saying wrong hotkey, because now they're going to be mixed between R and T on the keyboard. But yeah, in the wrong position. So you are correct. Cass is staying in support, even though he's in the 9th position in the game. Yes.
Also, the fact that Trundle is in top lane, and we usually see it in the support role, at least recently. And back in the day, it used to be a really good top lane pick.
Oh, yeah.
It was Otawame who actually brought it into the Shyvana and Mundo meta. It was like season 3, I want to say.
Yeah, that was right as Cloud9 Eclipse were kind of making wades into the Challenger series.
And yeah, so now seeing go back up to the top lane, but then people realize you just put it in the bot lane and clicks R on a tank, and he gets pretty much a very similar result. This time we're just going to see the laning phase happen. But potentially the last time today, going to start using those hashtags once again. IHG win for Illuminar Honor Gaming, or HMA win for HUMA, if you think they're going to take this game. Join the discussion on Twitter. This could be the end of the line for Illuminar, or it could be a start of a comeback. Maybe they can reverse sweep, channel their inner C9.
Well, I mean, HUMA have kind of already got one victory so far in this particular game, and that is the best Poppy skin. Lollipoppy. Ah, yes,
Not
the
too bad
thing
now.
of nightmares.
It was the thing of nightmares.
It still is, man.
And now it's just it's in the background.
But that's always the thing, is like when kids are afraid of clowns, is like when you're a kid it looks very scary like the original Lollipoppy, and then when you grow up you realize it's actually just a clown, and Lollipoppy is actually just Poppy holding a lollipop.
But that's still scary though. Poppy running at you,
that's
especially
what I mean.
like top jungle.
The just perpetual fear of clowns. It's the same kind of thing.
And in this composition, Poppy does really well. She
Oh, yeah.
interrupts every single member on the lineup of Illuminar.
She does. That is
a true statement.
That is a fact. So that is a policeman and someone from the Mafia.
Yeah.
I just hope that he's not paying Whirlib off at this point. Bribes are not acceptable on Summoner's Rift.
It
is all about farming and, you know, that kind of thing.
Don't tax my lane and we're cool.
Oh, dear.
Santorin on Graves. We spoke about this briefly in Champion Select, and it's a pick where you need the lanes to be able to set up Graves to land the damage, because he doesn't really have any CC in his kit apart from the W, and that's a whole kettle of fish, or a whole different kettle of fish, because it has other uses and is very good in its own right, but is not great at locking people in a single place so you can hit them against the wall with a Q. Whirlib will be able to help him, so will Godbro in the middle lane. Bot lane is reliant on Poppy landing her E. So there's the potential for Santorin to make it happen, but usually he's the one setting up ganks, where it's kind of the other way around this game.
Yeah, as you were saying, it is the other way around this game. So interested to see how that exactly goes. Bot lane, Kalista got pretty much all the CS in the lane so much faster. Now they actually go up and do Gromp. Very interesting change-up in this matchup. Has been warded out, so HUMA have been spotted here. Cass able to tank up just from having that shield from the Bracer. How does this affect the second wave? Because can they get back just in time yet? They miss one minion. I think they should get the second. Was there a relic stack there for Cass? I didn't quite see that. He at least hit the minion and got the gold for himself. Doesn't connect on the wall though.
Oh, takes the damage from the hammer shock as Mystic walks back in, and Creating getting a lot of damage on the Holy Things, even tags him with a fast bomb as he comes in with the retreat. Still, slight advantage over to Holy Phoenix. Tabasco finds Santorin in the jungle. He needs to make sure he doesn't walk next to a wall, otherwise he's about to take a lot of damage.
You can see him trying to position. It's like, I want to go this way. Oh, I
up.
can't go that way. Want to go this way. Oh, no, I can't go past my blue buff either. As just chooses to go straight forward and make sure he doesn't take that extra damage. A little bit fortunate that Whirlib didn't come across as well, but this bottom lane trading, level 3 now for Holy Phoenix and Cast. That is the experience extra that they got from the Gromp. So a little bit of a win there. A lot of damage mid lane.
Godbro used his Glacial Path to blink away from the extra damage from Nick. Just Cast trying to get in range with the Buckler. Put some damage out. Winter's Bite lands and just zones him back away again as the minion wave heads into the tower. Make it slightly harder for Creatine to get that CS. Tabasco now clearing a very early pink ward. So that actually denies a lot of vision.
This is an early roam.
Yeah, heading towards this mid lane.
Also, this is a LeBlanc. So you interrupt the first part of her W, you do not interrupt the second. So she is able to get out if she's already used the first part before your W is active.
Yeah, it's also the fact that Cass didn't need to go back at the same time as Holy Phoenix, and maybe he can't get a gank in mid lane, but he can assist Santorin, so they definitely win the fight if they meet up with Tabasco or a roam from Mystic as well. So it allows Santorin to go in pretty much uncontested and pick up anything he wants from the bottom side of the jungle. Also the fact if Tabasco happened to be there, which he didn't, he was in the top side of the map, clearing out the jungle in that side.
A lot of time spent though. Are they actually going in for this? Oh, good cancel.
That was fantastic. The W comes up, stops Nick from getting out of there. He'll flash away and using that second of stealth to run to his ally Tabasco, who is there, but also very low. Santorin still following after Nick. And Tabasco is like, see you, you're on your own. And he'll be walking into enemy territory, lands the ethereal chains,
I think he gets
and will
execute.
look for the execute. I believe it has been
should
enough
have been
time,
long enough.
and no one's chasing him either, so he can just wait here as well.
Cass is now. If Nick's looking for the minion execute, no, okay. So,
Well played by Nick.
Yeah, that was well played to get out of that. Really nice cancel on the W though, but too many of the gap closes we used by HUMA early on couldn't really stop him, and then the protection that Tabasco had was nice to get away. And actually soaked up a lot of time of Cast there, not being in the bottom lane. On the other side, though, IHG were able to back in their bottom lane as well, get the makings of a Phage. Interesting that it's a Phage they've gone for, and not on Creatine and not a Sheen. A lot of times you'll see Sheen first, just for the damage follow-up. Get that Sheen proc after the Phosphorus Bomb, and then just trade very heavily. I feel like the reason is here, Creatine doesn't want to die too quickly if he gets stunned, has opted for the parts of the Phage.
Top lane though, Whirler did go for this Sheen. And usually you see the Phage on him as well, but feels very confident in his matchup. Also dealing extra damage against Kuban in those trades may actually give him the slight edge. Kuban hasn't completed his Phage either. Godbro, a lot of damage from Nick, doesn't have Mimic yet, so he won't be able to full combo him, but chunks him down to the point where he may be in kill range as he hits 6.
Also, look at Godbro's itemization. Very rarely you ever see somebody go straight at blasting one first. I mean, Lissandra does have the ability to sustain herself on mana when it comes to her passive. Obviously has with the one spell every, I think it's 15 seconds for free.
Yep.
And then you don't really need the extra mana regen, so you can't afford to go straight AP. Will make her weaker when it comes to trading, though, on her own health.
Nick jumps in instantly. Godbro with the ultimate stops the combo and also deals a lot of damage in return. Pops him into his passive, the mirror image, but he's still able to pop his potions to bring himself back up.
And that's Nick going aggressive when the ultimate wasn't available for himself. Nick was only level 5 into the level 6 Godbro. Kuban goes aggressive. Whirlib gets the tower first.
Grand challenge comes out and the challenge has been accepted here. Santorin is able to put down the damage. The heal zone comes up. Tabasco may be caught out here. Godbro does not have his ultimate but gets the slowdown. Whirlib will not have enough mana for the pillar, and Santorin simply cannot get in range to unload his damage on Tabasco. The recall coming out by Godbro should be interrupted here by Tabasco.
Nick's
now he's
coming
still
up.
looking for the follow-up as Nick is roaming in from the mid lane. The ward comes out for the teleport as well from Fiora to rejoin the fight, and the disengage, will it be enough? Santorin looking for the kill here. The rebound on end of the line, and Nick should be able to close in here with the rest of his team to pick up the kill on Santorin. He doesn't really have anything left in his arsenal. The knock-up, the first blood, over to Tabasco.
Godbro managed to recall out as well, I think, as he was just stood in the middle of the lane. So HUMA used a lot to try and get kills. They got a tower, which is the big factor there. But first blood goes over to IHG. Still HUMA with the lead. Cast is in a bit of trouble. Valkyrie forward, but no damage follow-up. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the problems with going for Ruby Crystal and a longsword over Sheen.
We'll get back to that one in a second, but there was some action in bot lane we didn't quite catch.
Yeah, so we will take another look at that. Cretin gets himself away. Holy Phoenix, where was the damage follow-up? Because I saw him running out with a fairly low amount of health. Exhaust comes out. Oh, he flashes under the turret. That'll do it. So I guess the other reason for Cretin perhaps going on to the makings of the Phage is that when you look at bottom lane, the makings of a Phage are better than the makings of a Sheen. If you can only afford the components and not the full item. In general, Corki with an Amp Tome and a Mana Crystal isn't exactly that effective, so that may be the reasoning behind that for Cretin.
Yeah, Phage is also just a solid first item because it gives you extra tankiness and damage, while all Sheen does is give you more ability to deal damage.
I like it, though. I like the more damage aspect.
But,
Q auto follow-up is so strong.
That's true, and Cretin agrees with you as well, because he's actually just going to go for the components of Phage and then go into the Sheen.
Yes,
so
he's gone for
winner,
the best
winner,
of both
chicken
worlds.
dinner. Stress comes out ahead in this one.
Well, the one place I didn't come out ahead on, apparently, was my revelation on hummus, because I got a couple of tweets that people did not like me condemning people for hummus. And what I say to that is the people that enjoy like celery with hummus are probably the people that open a bag of crisps and are like, ooh, there's a whole lot of air in there. Tasty, tasty air, because that's all celery is. It's air and water. Anyway. That's my rant over. I'm sorry, Twitter people. Hummus is bad. But IHG,
more people angry.
It's great. If there's ever anybody in the world that does that with crisps, I don't really have words for that. But Tabasco gets denied off the top with Willib returning to lane. But will end up swooping at that ward.
Takes that ward. 15 gold in the bank. Bot lane.
That was the
Phoenix.
package.
It was the package. Just going to use that one to clear out the crooks real quick. May have been timing out. I hope it was timing out, because that's not the way you use that one usually. But
I mean, it is early on in the game.
So
using the package early is a lot more difficult to get it to work, but I can see why in this laning phase they probably wouldn't want to go super aggressive. However, Santorin is down here. Double ward in the tri-bush as well. Got to make sure you got all of that vision. But, HUMA are looking to push the turret. Oh, Cretin even took the damage off that.
Yeah, walks back into it. Cass just hit level 6. Mystic did the same, actually, off that minion. Santrin is there. Tabasco has read this, though. Actually, not that
Teleport
much.
coming
already
in.
there, and Cass jumps into the wall, gets the lockdown. Cretin has to flash out before Valkyrie. Willib tries to get in range.
Good
Great pillar, and he'll be able to get the chomp down for the kill. That was another one going over onto Mystic in the background underneath that tower. Tabasco trying to get out. The Void Rush is not cancelled, and he gets to safety. And Gopro was almost in position to catch him, if only he knew which tunnel he was going to.
Yeah, he was trying to just accept the Rek'Sai as he came into the jungle again, but interesting thing to keep a note of, teleport wasn't used by Kuban because it's not available. Still, Kuban, after teleporting to the top for that engage earlier, was not able to get down to the bottom side to cover it, didn't really extend a farm lead, has pushed up to the turret and is going to try and equalize it, but this is an outer for an inner and an outer here, as you can see Willib is able to take down that turret.
I'm not sure about this engage by Tabasco. Takes a lot of damage in from Holy Phoenix. And an inner turret at 11 minutes over to HUMA. Go back away. God broke. Glacial Path comes out just to stop Nick's recall before he pushes in the next wave, and the top tower will go down. And take a look at that engage once again, and take a look at the kill under tower that we didn't quite catch.
Yeah, so this was the teleport coming in earlier. Cass flashes into the charge into the wall. Couldn't deny the Valkyrie because got knocked up himself, but the work was already done there. Cretin is sitting duck as Willib even has an Iceborne Gauntlet at this point, is able to just stick on targets very effectively.
What he did manage to interrupt was the stand behind me from Braum, and he wasn't able to get the shield up so he could block the damage on his AD carry, and ultimately that was enough of a difference so that Willib can walk up and chomp down on Cretin to pick up the kill. So still, steadfast presence, very strong as a skill.
Another thing we saw in that kind of sequence of events that maybe people that haven't been tracking all of these games over the last 2 days, as a reminder, we're on 524, which is why you saw Trundle use his Q on a turret and it actually apply the amplified damage. That was patched off in 6.1. Of course, this was the patch 524 that the semi-finals was played on, so we wanted to keep that for the finals as well. We are in Game 3 of a best-of-5 as well, so potentially here, HUMA could be looking at a 3-0 if this game continues along the same path the last two had, and it seems to have started that way.
That's also the reason why we're seeing Trundle top in this game versus support, because in 6-1, there's a lot of reasons why he can't really do that anymore. Now Godbro, a lot of damage in the mid lane, creating with the follower. Godbro will have to flash away and go into his ultimate. Nick is hanging around to potentially pick up this kill. Just WeCat is there to try and defend him. Fate's Call will protect the support. Whirlip now comes in and is able to get the CC up with the pillar, but he's going in the bounty castle and gets readmission back to the turret. Created tries to protect his support, but is not able to do so. 1-0 over to HUMA.
1-0 trade just by knocking Kubon all the way out of the fight, reduced that entire threat as HUMA are looking to continue towards this fairly low health turret here. It's the team with Corkia getting sieged on now. Godbro has to be careful, he's fairly low. Kubon's going in.
He doesn't have any defensive tools. Great steadfast presence, stop Nick, but he still has another Mimic to come in and finish off Godbro with a Sigil of Malice. Now Tabasco goes into the bottom side of the map, but it's rendered by Holy Phoenix picking up that kill.
And HUMA, they do lose one there from Godbro, who finally fell, but they pick up more overall. Let's take another look at the beginning of the last fight. This was Nick going super aggressive onto Godbro, managed to just weave the chain in between the minions there. Good ultimate on himself to hold himself alive, and Cuss tries to play blocker now of any further rockets that come through. Watch where Cass goes. He goes towards Nick here with the Fate's Call. I wonder if it had gone right into the middle of the fight, would he have been able to deny anything more? Kubon found himself on the heavy end of the hammer there, flying straight back to the... there's not really a light end of a hammer when you say it that way.
Well, it depends if it's balanced, you know? You
I
might
guess
have
the
like
handle,
one side.
the handle isn't so great.
Does that count as a side of the hammer?
It's... I get... To be honest, I'm not a blacksmith. I don't
Me
really...
neither, so I can't really comment. If there's any blacksmiths out there, please feel free to correct us.
Speaking of that, have you seen the, I think it's like Man at Arms series where they made like
Yes.
Katarina's daggers and Leona's sword? I got in a loop once of just watching a load of those videos, and then they made like Sauron's mace, and I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
I think the Diana one was the coolest because it was so intricate.
So impractical though. So impractical.
Well, they destroyed a watermelon, so...
Yeah.
Well,
that's what you're looking for from a sword, to be honest. I mean, Trundle in this situation just has a club, like a truncheon, because he's Constable Trundle. It is my favorite Trundle skin.
Okay,
so not quite as effective as a sword, but yeah. I guess it's actually a lollipop in this. I mean, we already touched on that. It's not a hammer after all.
Yeah. That changes the game completely.
It does.
Oh, Holy Phoenix taking away the red buff. 15 minutes into this game. Feels like this has been a much longer game because of the amount of action we've had so far, but only 15 minutes in. Tabasco and Nick are going to see this pink ward. No, they're not. They're going to go top lane to try and kill Whirlip, and Nick is not going to get in range, and they're not going to clear out the pink ward either. I guess they just walked past it and didn't notice.
Yeah, they didn't really get too much from that. There's a spooky ghost come out and don't really get too much.
Well, 2-4 currently. HUMA still lead this game. That's another turret going down, and mid turret is also being sieged by Cass and Phoenix. Tabasco and Nick looking for a potential flank. Santrin and Godbro are there. They need to get some CC down. Kubon, meanwhile, is taking this bottom turret. He doesn't have teleport, so it'll be a 5 versus 4. That being said, Trundle is off to the side. There's the package.
They force it out from Cretin as well there. That's not going to be available for this fight. Whirlip trying to deny Nick on the top side. Cass is fairly low though, so I think HUMA have to kind of readjust and look at this fight in a different perspective, because now with Kubon on the bottom side, doesn't have TP. He showed again without TP.
Yeah, but everyone's already recalling or taking objective. The Rift Herald is going down, and this is not a beneficial trade for HUMA. They take the Herald. I don't think they'll even get the buff either. Holy Phoenix is caught in the pit. Just Cat brought in with the Fate's Call, looking for the knockup. Steadfast Presence comes down over the wall. Is Godbro. They pick up 1 kill, 2, maybe 3, and Nick can't even jump into the fight.
And Cass grabs the buff from Rift Herald again. Man, that was a sick play. Whosoever wields that hammer is able to control the Rift Herald at this point, because they managed to pick up that buff. This is a much better performance on Puppey from Cass than we saw in yesterday's series from Hiva. A lot of what Cass is doing is really good stuff. So this is the beginning of the fight. Rift Herald, remember, drops the Eye of Doom, or the Doom's Eve, I think it's called, as the buff. In comes the support. Nick goes straight back out to the blue buff area. At this point, Cass has already dived in, grabbed himself the buff, and the cleanup comes from Godbro.
So important to note, the charge up came from Cass's ultimate, then he was pulled in by the Fate's Call, and that still stays active when you're spat back out again, and then you can use it, and that's what happened there. So when he jumped in, he already had it fully charged. When he came in, it was able to knock Nick all the way back instead of just that tiny knock-up you get if you only charge it for a half a second. So actually very nice there from the team play, just from Holy Phoenix and Cass. Santrin back in this mid lane. Let's take a look at some of the item builds that have been evolving in this game. Kubon has picked up the Titanic Hydra, gone for the Phage on top of that as well. Maybe going towards the Black Cleaver. It's actually a really nice damage combination with that extra health you get from both items. But going for that one first, that's been some of the discussion with Fiora in the most recent patch, also specifically into the Lissandra matchup. Gonna hold that thought for a second because Santrin has been picked up here by Nick and was just caught with his pants down in no man's land, and that's an easy pickup for Illuminar.
Yeah, that is just an easy pickup. That's Santrin being in the wrong place, wrong time. And now IHG look for the middle lane. It is a full health turret though, and Lissandra is standing right there with a Poppy that has gone for the Eye of the Equinox as well. I mean, we tend not to see too much sway from the active items. Eye of the Equinox is one of the ones that you sometimes see built when it comes to the extra ward from the Sightstone build path. And you can see it makes Poppy pretty tanky. They won't have that shield available though, should Holy Phoenix get caught out. Obviously the shield you get with Face of the Mountain, being the other build route.
Indeed. It does put you a little more gold, gives you more gold, essentially 800 more gold towards your next item versus the active, so you have that added benefit, but yes, you don't get the active.
The extra ward, the all-important extra ward. I actually think that's highly beneficial if you use it properly.
Yeah. To go back to that point very briefly, just so people aren't like, but why is it good? Titanic Hydra, you can swap into the other Hydra.
Ravenous.
Ravenous Hydra. Later on when you need more damage. Nick, trying to get some damage onto
that damage
Godbro.
just off one Q.
Not really the desired result from LeBlanc there. Jump in and get chunked instead by Lissandra. Maybe HUMA can find this chance to go for their engage themselves in the mid lane, but needs to try and get in range. Disengage fairly good from Illuminar this game, as it has been in a lot of the comps they drafted. But Glacial Fissure is still up, for example. This wave is going to evaporate fairly soon. Godbro tries to land the Frozen Tomb.
I'm surprised he took that.
The tower's dropping very low. Holy Phoenix is able to get a lot of damage here, and a huge knockback onto two members on IHG. It doesn't end up mattering as Cass almost falls to the Mimic. Tabasco coming in, looking to land the Prey Seeker on the retreating Poppy. Nick skirting around the outside of the fight, instantly ulted by Godbro. Doesn't have that as a defensive tool now, and he will be dropping. Kubon picks that one up. Meanwhile, Kubon goes down, and so does Mystic. Tabasco being chased down by Holy Phoenix into the jungle, and was looking for the Ren, but doesn't actually get that one off. Nick by himself up against Whirlib. It is the support versus the mid laner, and now Santrin comes in. Just needs that one auto to land. There it is. Mid laner for the support. Not a good trade for Illuminar. And after all of that, that was a 3-4-2 over to HUMA.
3-for-2 over to HUMA, and it was the top lane of Whirlib. Always the trundle now. We're so used to seeing it down in that support role. Whirlib ending up getting taken down. Don't worry, Pulse, I've got you back on that one. I thought the same for a while. You had me fooled. But that fight, you could see the Ren stacks were sticking out of Tabasco. I believe the actual activation range was not quite there. So let's take another look at the start of this fight. This is after the hammer has been dropped. Cass is out. Cass is completely out of this fight. So Nick has to W to avoid any kind of response here. The minion is granting the vision onto Nick to allow the Lissandra ult. A whole lot happening with Holy Phoenix just being able to stand at the back. Tabasco flashes up and I think is just out of the activation range of Ren. Remember, if there is a target closer that you've got a Ren stack on, the actual damage range is about 200 range further than activation. This was Nick just getting picked off right at the end by Centaur.
But it was a mid lane for a top lane, so I take that back, Nick. Not too bad. It was you for another solo laner, so still you lost the fight. But yeah, you took the top laner with you.
Silver lining.
Silver linings in this one.
Which is also what I'm going to call my ranked, well, not my rank team, but that's the name that I'm going to give the people that I play with, because I don't think we're going to get too much higher than that.
Definitely a possibility. So Sui
I forgot
Cass.
what it's called now.
What?
I've been speaking about how much I want to play Dynamic Queue all day.
Yeah. I believe it has been disabled on EUCS, however, temporarily.
If you want to join my Silver Linings Dynamic Crew group, tweet me.
What are the requirements, Ress?
Well, it has to be predominantly silver, I guess, or at least top and support, so that we are lined by silver. Everything else, if you challenge a mid laner, just let me know.
It complements the silver well, I believe,
know, right?
on the loading screen.
That's
there you go, folks. But Mystic coming down here, trying to steal the dragon with ambitious Winter's Bite. Godbro was thinking about using his ultimate there, but with the backup of Tabasco and Creatin being in the mid lane with the package, wasn't really going to go for that right there. Holy Things is going to aggress onto him, but takes an auto and a couple spells, which will result in a Thunderlord's proc. And Holy Phoenix should be okay. He's actually gone for the Blade of Rune King this game instead of the Death's Dance, which we saw last time he played in game 1, and then the Rune and Hurricane as well.
And that's interesting because he is against a LeBlanc, which is like one of the champions that Death's Dance tends to be good at, against at least. I feel like it's just from how far ahead Holy Phoenix finds himself. 5-1 and 2, just get damage and lifesteal. Like, there's going to be very few times when Nick is in range. Whirlib is caught though.
He's taking a lot of damage. He's quite dead. And that is one pick. And there's the top laner. So 22 minutes into this game, Baron's not really on the cards. So more than anything, it's just a nice pickup. They're not really going to get an objective off of that. HUMA are leading 3 towers over their opponents currently. A second pick, however, could result in something else.
Not with Fate's Call around.
Fate's Call, good spell.
They do force it out though. That is obviously one thing to keep in mind. That's one of the tools that HUMA have been using to counter-engage fairly effectively with. So that's no longer available for about a minute or so.
And there's the Black Cleaver completed by Kuban as well, which we were talking about earlier. It's a really nice item build. I'm wondering who can win the 1v1 actually if we see Whirlib up against Kuban. It might almost neutralize. Nick, the damage onto Santorin. If he'd gotten the proc as well off of the E or anything else, used the distortion aggressively, he would have been dead. But that would have been at the cost of Nick as well. So the trade might not have been worth it. But Nick just kind of showing how strong he is at this stage, the amount of damage he can deal.
Yeah, a lot of damage clearly onto Santorin. At this point, Santorin having to back away is enough of a trade for IHG to be happy. They are slowing down HUMA's aggression. And they're all constantly putting Kuban down in this bottom lane, trying to push up, trying to get the turret. It's been a couple of minutes since they last tried it, but it is a tactic that is starting to gain some ground. I wonder who's going to go over and clear. Looks like Santorin for now. I feel like Kuban can probably take him. If it's in the middle of the lane, I think he can do it.
I think so too. It also comes down to what he can block. If he can block the Q damage, then you almost certainly win. But can I just say, this is a different Illuminar than we've seen all series long.
It is.
They've gone with a different type of composition, and they're playing it well. They're not quite even in this game, but we've seen multiple opportunities where they've been able to capitalize, they've picked up kills. Now in a fight, I wouldn't say HUMA are just going to straight up win it. Yeah,
I feel like HUMA still have a fair enough lead that they should be fairly content in their position. I don't think they've got a comp that really scales off too hard either, so I think unlike in the game with the Rise and the Kassadin, I wouldn't say that we're getting into the kind of time that IHG can fight back into it. I actually feel like IHG haven't had the opportunity to siege too well themselves. Only 2 towers down. They haven't been able to crack this mid lane. But nevertheless, IHG are hanging on a lot stronger than they were in the last 2 games, so there is something to be said for that.
Yeah, Cass still leading the charge, trying to get that E onto anyone he can right now. I would line up his team for a potential pick. And it's going just back to just a standstill when neither team can really get a pick with their mid laners. And they also want to farm those side lanes. We had Whirlib off to the side just trying to clear that minion wave out. Likewise, Godbro has to do the same to the top lane. Gone for the Frostqueen's claim on both of those mid laners, so definitely looking for those pickups.
It's going to be real difficult though for Kuban actually to get too much work done in these side lanes just because there's 2 teleports on HUMA. They've sacrificed any kind of lane presence that Godbro had, well, kill presence or security by not opting for combat summoners and opting just for the teleport instead, but it's going to now work in HUMA's favor. This is a fairly ambitious attempt. However, look, Corki did just go back.
Tabasco's the only one around this area. Holyfink's only just joined though, so he's only starting to get the stacks now, and I believe he just used the Ren, so there's no stacks going into Baron. Tabasco over the wall could potentially get the steal, jumps into the pit, and immediately battered away, and that would go over to the red team. Just WeCats brought in, comes up with a steadfast presence, and has also been grand challenged as well. Not really the target who one wants that one to be on, and Tabasco comes back into the fight, but everyone has already left, not on the same page than his allies. Creason has to Valkyrie away, Nick has to Distort away, and 2 kills over to HUMA, plus the Baron is a big swing in this game.
And everybody got away with their lives on HUMA. Jesuicas even survived through all of that once again, just by the skin of his teeth, and HUMA have the Baron buff now. Now it becomes a fairly simple 1-3-1 setup for HUMA with double teleports. They can sit one top, one bottom, and push with the rest of the 3. But let's look at just how fast Cast reacts here to get Tabasco back out of this pit. Tabasco looks to go around the side. Hammer's already charging up on 2,000 health. Tabasco knocks, and the ice follows him as well. At that point, it's an easy smite for the rest of HUMA. Cast pulled out of danger. And, I mean, what can you do here for IHG? Even when half of the damage is not landing for HUMA, with the collateral damage kind of straying itself straight through the middle of the fight, not hitting anybody. It's again, a situation where IHG are just behind the curve reacting to the play, and they're not able to get in position in time.
Up until this point, though, there was such a good opportunity for Illuminar to maybe retake the lead. They were 4,000 gold behind, but they were continuing to get picks. They were starting to win in these skirmishes. Now with the Baron, they're back on the back foot and cannot put a foot wrong, because then HUMA will just take a tower, they'll maybe crack the base, and as soon as those inhibitors go down, it's almost certainly the end of this series. Kuban, he's on his way out. He's still got the lunges, though, because he's still landing on these minions. So he's able to get a lot of distance between himself and his aggressors.
Oh, no.
Once again, Fate's Call. But he may have to use himself as a sacrifice. Kritzen jumps all the way into the back lines, but now HMA have all turned up. Godbro into this fight, pops the ultimate onto Kritzen. He goes down, already used the Valkyrie as he used his package. 2-0 over to HUMA, and they're looking for the chase down. Whirlup just waiting for his pillar to come back up. And not quite there, wasn't able to interrupt Nick, so Suicast gets in range with his E, but they can't quite follow after this lineup. A little too slippery, but now they're able to push down the bottom lane with these Baroned up minions.
Yeah, with the minions in tow, they're going to look now for the inhibitor turret. I think one person's probably going to swing up to the mid lane and look to push that through as well. No, they're actually going to stick with a 5-man stack down in the bottom lane. The turret's already gone.
Yeah, what's that tower made of? Paper? That just like died instantly over to HUMA. That was just one tower. They have a little bit left on Baron. Can they squeeze anything else from it? No, because Tabasco's actually in the mid lane abducting the minion wave. Top lane is too far away for HUMA to really get there in time. So they're just going to back off, take Dragon, and then spend all of the gold they've accrued over the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, this is going to put them on roughly a 10,000 gold lead as well here after this Dragon falls. And I mean, we've not seen too many comebacks ever since 6.1, or the preseason. This is 524, if you'll excuse me, has come out. This was this fight once again. Kuban manages to drag so much of the attention from HUMA up the map into the lane that the rest of IHG are like, I think we can take this, guys. I think we can take off the stragglers. Keep an eye on the minimap, because Kuban turns around in a second and runs straight back down with the rest of the team. So this was looking not too bad for IHG. Then Kritzen uses the package into the fight and goes, oh, they're all here again.
That's unfortunate.
I'm half health. And then Lissandra ult into the follow-up damage. And that's basically the end of that fight.
You could see what the idea was from Illuminar. They wanted to close in with Kuban. He might be able to survive, but Whirlib may be taken out here, trying to get these vitals. Stands against the wall. You're not going to get the last one, says Whirlib.
Oh, and then
now he
turns
chases
around.
down, but the rest of the team's there. But so is HMA. Whirlib may drop before the fight ensues, but Godbro's here. Holy Phoenix also dishing out the damage. There's the double kill coming out, and this is the Holy Phoenix highlight reel coming in now. That's another kill coming out. Oh, Nick actually manages to escape. just barely into the enemy jungle, but now HUMA are able to push down the top lane.
Oh man, the dishonorable 1v1 from Kubon. He wanted to take the fight against Willib straight up. Willib pretty much just outplays him, putting his back to the wall, and Kubon's like, team, come on guys,
let's go.
bring in the interference here. Disqualification for Kubon in that kind of situation. But at this point, HUMA are looking to really be writing the final chapter in the qualifiers for themselves right here. They're pushing on towards this top lane inhibitor turret. No Baron up minions for now means they will have to back away, but with the inhibitor minions, or the super minions, streaming past the inhibitor in the bottom lane, HUMA, it's pretty much only a matter of time now until they get that top or mid turret.
I'm going to take a look at that last replay real quick. Mainly just that 1v1 that led up to the team fights, and Kubon was starting to get the better of Willib.
Yeah, he was, and then Willib's just like, okay, fine. And at this point, this isn't fair.
Nope.
That is not how you 1v1 me, bro. That's... I'm just thinking back to like All-Stars, if that happened. It'd be like interference, comes out of the crowd, jumps on, plugs in a second mouse, and yeah, not good.
Ganks them on Howling Abyss.
Yeah, exactly. Just flies in from the side. But no, at the end of that fight, IHG, just they don't have the damage output, really. I mean, they have a LeBlanc, and that's really one of the only champions that is able to deal damage, but you look at how far behind on farm Nick is. He's down a little bit when compared to the likes of Willib, Godbro, and Cuss, but he's down 100 on Cretan, which is his own teammate. Cretan's been absorbing so much of the farm that's been coming towards IHG, and then isn't converting it into meaningful damage in these team fights. The package right into the bottom fight is an example that Cretan has just been kind of out of position and all out of sorts on this Corki.
Despite all of those resources going over to Cretan, he's still way far behind Holy Phoenix right now, who is sitting on 4 big items, 9, 1, and 4. And he's just been putting up crazy performances throughout this series. The Misfortune game was great. The first game on Callisto as well was strong. But definitely the last 2 games we've seen from him have been exceptionally good. And it's fantastic to see him stepping out of the TCL and into Europe.
Yeah, it looks like Santorin and Holy Phoenix as well have been taking lessons, because Double Death's dance right now means that it's so difficult for Nick or Cretan to actually deal with them. Nick tries to go in, doesn't find the damage, and now HUMA take down the top tower with pretty much no contest.
The Glacial Path is coming in for a potential engage, and the knockback onto Kubon. They may pick up this kill. Goes into Riposte and Sterax. Knocked away there by the Puppy ultimate, and NIQ goes down. A 4 versus 5 will be potentially the end of the game, as the inhibitor will be falling. Cretan trying to get away, is going to use the package defensively. Mystic uses Glacial Fissure to start zoning away the competition, and Tabasco gets a multi-man knockup. Is it going to be enough though? Do they have the damage? Kubon back into the fight with a grand challenge, survives it, and Whirlo has to flash away defensively. Another Glacial Path comes in, does not land the Ring of Frost. Cretan comes back in, may be able to pick up kill onto Godbro. He needs this to happen to keep the dreams of staying in EUCS alive, and Sancho backs away. They hold on for now, but for how long, Stress?
I think, did the bot lane Nexus turret die during that as well? It looks like one of the 2 Nexus turrets did fall, so even with just the minions pushing through the bottom lane inhibitor, which did just respawn, HUMA have so much of an advantage right now, and they look for the Baron for the 2nd time in this game.
This will be going down with 0 contest. Mystic's not going to do anything about that one. All of the route has been watered up as well. They may even be able to get him as a pick before this happens. But what are you going to do in Illuminar's position? It's an impossible position where you have to do something. Now the teleport comes in by Kubon. He has to just do a U-turn and walk out. Maybe they can get a pick onto Whirlo, though. He gets slowed down with the E. The Blade Work comes out. Godbro slows him down. Riposte comes in as well. Just Weecast there to try and support Whirlo. He actually survives for a very long time. But the pick over to Illuminar stalls out this game a little.
It's going to stall it for another minute or 2. I feel like this one still is winding up in favor of HUMA every single time they're trading. That's 1 kill for a Baron. That's a trade that HUMA will take every single day. And, you know, let's take a look back all the way in the base of IHG. This was the stun onto Kubon. Nowhere for Kubon to go. And I think does he get out from this? But it's Nick that they end up trading his life. Oh, he's saved by the hammer at this point. But Nick goes in and dies before he can ever get himself back out of that fight. And the inhibitor's just easy pickings. HUMA have too much health. There is no damage coming from IHG right now, despite the items they have.
Dragon goes down as well. The fourth one of the game. If there wasn't enough ways for HUMA to try and close out this game, there's another one. Fifth Dragon is on the cards in 6 minutes if they choose to go for it, but not entirely sure if the game is going to last this long. 2-0 over to HUMA currently in this best of 5. They just need to close this one out cleanly, and they will have secured the very last spot in the European Challengers Series in this spring split, joining the rest of the teams and Millennium, who joined us yesterday. Now the bottom siege comes out. This is looking dire for Illuminar Honor Gaming.
Yeah, they really haven't brought too much of a fight to this series, and the HUMA have been looking on top form. Is there one last fight for IHG? That's what they need, is somehow to get rid of Holy Phoenix and Godbro. And even then, Whirlib is still causing enough problems. They've got to deal with the top lane in Super Minions as well. This is an uphill struggle. This is pretty much a mountain right now for IHG to overcome, and I feel like HUMA are just biding their time until the minion wave arrives to be buffed up by that Baron buff, and they're going to run in.
Engaged by Godbro, he blows up his target. Nick goes down, Santurin putting out the damage onto the front line as well. Kuban is just simply not tanky enough. Creatine goes out of the fight. Just EUCS brings down the hammer, and Mystic will also fall over to Whirlib. That's a clean ace. Not quite clean as Godbro dies, but it's still going to be the game. HUMA closing this one out. The Nexus turret falls, so does the Nexus, and HUMA joins the EUCS Spring Split.
It was a very clean series, regardless of that last game being closer for IHG, but just in general, HUMA looking very strong. Holy Phoenix, how many fights did we have to go through and it's just like, Holy Phoenix is untouched, Holy Phoenix is untouched, every single time. Couldn't shut him down in the laning phase. Couldn't shut him down in the team fights at all. I mean, that's the second game where, or maybe even the third game where he had like very low deaths, 1 or 2 deaths in, I think, every single game. Just impressive performance by this entire lineup. We spoke about how they have like 3 carries and all 3 of them showed up today.
Yeah, he was unkilled in the first game because they had no deaths. So
yeah,
I can say that one for certain. But very excited to see HUMA in the new split. I think there's a lot of talent on this team, and we've seen them work together. They won their lanes as well, but they also showed pretty good strengths in the early game. Illuminar, better in that final game, but it was too little too late, and they still didn't win that last one. Maybe they could have drawn it to a 4th game, but they kind of just fumbled towards the end there, and HUMA were able to clean it out and pick up that win. 3-0 in that best of 5.
Yeah, very confident win as well. I mean, they never looked shaken at any point. So just a very, very solid performance from HUMA. I'm looking forward to seeing how they can do against some of the other teams.
Yeah, me too. But remember to tune in again next week on our new regular time slot of 1800 CET on Tuesday, where we'll be back with week 1 of the European Challenge Series Spring Split.
I can't wait for that. And we've got all 6 teams locked in. It's the Copenhagen Wolves, it's Team HUMA, Inspire Esports, Millennium, Mouse Sports, and SK Gaming are our teams here for the Spring Split of Challenger Series, and we'll be broadcasting all 6 games every single week, so you won't miss a single second of this year's EUCS action.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. No more highlights. You're going to see all of the action live from us. But if you need a reminder of the format changes, schedule, or even the team rosters, take a look at the Challenger article posted on LoL Esports for more information.
Oh, yeah, but League isn't done quite yet for today, because later on, Primetime League is going to go live at 2 a.m. CET, 5 p.m. Pacific, where Pyro and I are going to join talking about this week's EULCS games. And for you EULCS viewers, Primetime League will be rebroadcasting the hour before EULCS. That's 5 p.m. CET.
Well, excited to catch that one, Stress. But with that, the European Challengers Series qualifiers are complete, and our 6 teams are locked in. So, from myself, Stress, and the Challenger broadcast team, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Everyone from Illuminar are kind of split out. Kumon's actually going to take a lot of damage from this turret, and the minions as well going down on him. He may even get executed here. The first Nexus turret has gone down. Mystic looking for the engage, and once again whiffs it with the flash. Now the rest of his team is in shambles. Nick will be going down. He's only just spawned. Creatine goes down, and Kumon will be sure to follow. Gonna chase him onto the spawn pad. The Sterex keeps him alive. Value purchase, but if they can get a pick on Tabasco, all of that will change. The ultimate comes in with a Frozen Tomb. He goes down, and they manage to get a return kill though onto Cass. Bullet Time comes across onto the whole lineup. Sancho will have to jump away here, but not before Kubon flashes and takes him out. Creation drops low, has been bound up, and now Holy Phoenix is going wild, looking for another kill onto the tower. Make that the triple kill for Iron Cast. Jumps into the wall, gets the lockdown. Creation has to flash out before Valkyrie. Whirlip tries to get in range. Great pillar, and he'll be able to get the chomp down for the kill. That was another one. HUMA closing this one out. The Nexus turret falls, so does the Nexus, and HUMA joins the EUCS Spring Split.